Hey everybody, welcome to today's video. Hope you're doing great wherever you're watching from. Today we're diving into the US Navy's MQ-4C Triton. That's a massive surveillance drone that's been turning heads off the coast of Venezuela. Just as of a few days ago, they're tracking cartel runners, likely like a hawk, and they're diving into that entire swath of ocean and tracking narco boats. But they're doing a lot more than that. And we're going to get to that here in a second, because this isn't just some tech demo. This beast is changing the game in the war on narcotics. And just this week, alongside F-18s in the Gulf of Venezuela, it's flexing muscle against the Maduro regime, and the cartel buddies are watching probably very closely. So stick around, because we're breaking down the Triton's design, its sensors, the cartel's threats against it, and then we'll do two real-world hypothetical scenarios showing how this could ramp up, even though having a spy drone just a few hundred miles off the coast of Venezuela is ramping up pretty good. The amount of air power in that chunk of sea is just insane. So by the end of this video, you're going to know why this flying spy is the cartel's worst nightmare, and this drone basically has eyes that never blink. So let's dive into it. The MQ-4C Triton itself, this isn't your buddy's little hobby quadcopter drone that annoys you because he flies over your barbecue. This is built by Northrop Grumman. It's a high altitude, long endurance, HAIL, there you go, first acronym of the video, unmanned aerial vehicle, and it's designed for maritime surveillance. Picture a 130-foot wingspan, bigger than a Boeing 737, stretching across the sky. Its airframe is based on the RQ-4 Global Hawk, but it's beefed up for that salty sea mission, because those massive swaths of ocean take a lot of eyes and a lot of power to look down and discern boats, other types of assets, maybe even underneath the ocean. The fuselage is 47 feet long and it weighs in at 32,250 pounds, fully loaded. The power comes from a single Rolls-Royce AE307H. See, this thing's got class as well. It's not just a spy drone up in the sky that never blinks. It's also got a classy engine built by Rolls-Royce. It pumps out 8,500 pounds of thrust. That's enough to push the Triton to about 350 miles per hour at its max speed, but it can cruise likely around 230 knots to save a little bit of fuel, and its ceiling that we know of is 56,000 feet. And this drone itself, as shown on Flight Radar 24, we can actually see it trucking through that swath of ocean. It's up somewhere around 55,000 feet. The call sign was Black Cat. So what a super cool call sign. Literally all the other drones are jealous of this thing. This is literally the 007 of drones. It can loiter for 30 hours straight, covering about 8,200 miles without any refueling. That's New York to Tokyo and back, with gas to spare. I mean, that's just insane. It's built to scan vast oceans using reinforced wings to handle turbulence and icing at any of those extremely high altitudes that it can get up to. And the Navy's been flying these since 2018, and they're tweaking it. They're making adaptations to it essentially every month or so. $45 million just went into upgrades in December of 2025. So one of those upgrades was probably giving this thing a little blue pill so it could stay airborne a little bit longer, and now this thing's got stamina for days. But the Triton's real magic is in its sensor suite. This drone's a flying supercomputer packed with gear to spot cartel boats from 50 miles away or even further away. The star of the show is the AN-ZPY3 multifunction active sensor. There you go, another great acronym, the MFAS, a 360-degree radar that can track ships, planes, and even small speedboats across, this is just insane, 2 million square miles in a single mission. I mean, that's insane. That's just got to blow everybody's mind. And I'm sure Maduro is kind of a little bit angry about that. He's probably like, why couldn't this thing be a little less capable so I could at least have some hiding spots? This is basically giving 0 hiding spots in all of Venezuela. 2 million square miles. It's got electro-optical infrared cameras for high-def video, also known as the EOIR for you acronym lovers out there. Day or night, it could zoom in on a cartel boat and read the license plate. I'm pretty sure boats have license plates. Then there's the automatic identification system, the AIS receiver, which picks up ship transponders to ID legit traffic versus narco smugglers who turn theirs off or just don't have one at all. Electronic support measures, or ESMs, sniff out radar and radio signals, pinpointing bad guys that are trying to hide. The Triton is semi-autonomous, meaning it can fly pre-programmed routes or be directed mid-mission by operators thousands of miles away. Data gets beamed via satellites to U.S. Navy ships in Southcom. On December 9th, 2025, this was tracked on flight radar off the coast of Venezuela, feeding intel while F-18s buzzed nearby. This was the double-pronged approach, having F-18s in one sector, likely EA-18G Growlers that could be jamming and basically being the bait, while they had this MQ-4 on the other side of the country doing ISR, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance. This is a package that Maduro really doesn't want to have near his country. So when it comes to Maduro, I put myself in his shoes. He's probably thinking of the MQ-4 as the snitch that never sleeps. But who's the Triton hunting exactly? So obviously cartels, likely the Maduro regime itself, specifically Venezuela's narco network that's tied to the Maduro regime. These guys move tons of cocaine, meth, fentanyl through the Caribbean. They use speedboats, those fishing vessels, and even semi-submersibles, low-profile boats that can maybe break the surface just a little bit. The Gulf of Venezuela is the hot spot with drugs that flow to Central America or just straight to the US, or they stop off at some islands along the way and refuel, or even offload to drug planes that will then fly the load further into the United States. But the cartels are slick and they're constantly moving and adapting. They usually run at night. They use encrypted radios. They exploit Venezuela's corrupt military for protection. Maduro's been linked to the Cartel of the Suns. That's a group of Venezuelan officials that run drugs for profit. And they're basically a cartel that actually has a real military, which is something that typically isn't seen before. But the US has ramped up pressure with Southcom's operations. If you've been following my videos, you know that Operation Southern Spear, it's all about choking off these routes. And the Triton steps in, and it's perfect for it. It can spot boats from dozens of miles away, while F-18s from the USS Gerald R. Ford provide the muscle. They're essentially the high-class bouncers that keep the MQ-4 up there without anyone trying to reach up and touch it. Potentially Maduro's regime has thought about trying to take a shot at that MQ-4, but it's up at 55,000 feet, 100 miles plus. Likely their missiles can't reach that. And then if they were to launch Su-30s, now they've got those F-18s that are up there. The F-18s are jamming, but they're probably also loaded down with the latest and greatest of air-to-air weapons, and that's probably the AIM-120. They could reach out and touch a Su-30 from a long distance away, and Maduro knows that, likely why he's not taking any pop shots at that MQ-4. But let's do some breakdowns of some hypothetical situations. So let's talk about this drone operating again, which it just did as of about a day ago, off the coast of Venezuela. Call sign Black Cat 6. It's circling at 50,000 feet, 200 miles northeast of Caracas. Its radar pings a small boat moving fast. No AIS signal, classic narco move. So the camera zooms in. They see 6 guys. Crates are stacked high. No actual fishing gear. And then it feeds that information directly to one of the ships that's in the USS Gerald R. Ford strike group. They scramble 2 F-18s from the Ford that are 300 miles away. The Hornets scream in at about 20,000 feet, trying to raise the crew over the guard frequency. They get nothing back. A Navy P-8 Poseidon, a maritime patrol aircraft, is also on patrol that day. They drop sonobuoys to track the boat's path, and the Triton drone keeps eyes on it. They move in, they tell the boat to stop, it doesn't, so the F-18s unleash JDAMs, splashing the boat, destroying their entire load of cocaine and fentanyl. The Triton gets BDA, battle damage assessment, and passes that real time to Southcom's headquarters. The next situation that the Triton could be used, and what it could have been doing that day, is it's patrolling again off the coast of Venezuela, 100 miles from Venezuela. It spots a semi-submersible that's barely visible, and it's heading for Aruba. This isn't some amateur gig. Intel says it's a Cartel of the Suns shipment guarded by Venezuelan patrol boats. The Triton's onboard systems try to ping the ship and nothing comes back. Again, classic narco move. But in this case, Maduro's got a little something else up his sleeve. He launches Su-30s from an austere base in Venezuela. But the USS Ford has already launched EA-18G Growlers, those electronic warfare jets, to go up and take on the Su-30s. Again, the F-35 is airborne as well. They launched out of Puerto Rico. They have just refueled and they are waiting for the go sign from those Growlers. The Growlers roll in and start jamming the Su-30s that are trying to take down the MQ-4 Triton. because again, the MQ-4 Triton is a high value asset. So this is the asset that the enemy wants to go after first, because as soon as you take that down, now you eliminate the eyes in the sky. And that's exactly what Maduro wants to do. He doesn't want this thing tracking his every move. But the Triton zones in and tracks the boats, all the patrol boats and the semi-submersibles, making sure they know exactly where they went to. And then it just passes those coordinates and that information to Special Operations Forces, who then go in and do whatever they need to do to eliminate those threats. But again, the Su-30s are airborne. They're up there. And so the EA-18G Growlers hone in and start jamming those as best they can. Likely one of the Su-30's radars will be completely shut down by the EA-18G Growler that is jamming it on a level that they've probably never seen before. But one of the Su-30's gets a shot off. So the EA-18G Growler now needs to turn and make sure they are outside of that threat zone. The EA-18G Growlers get out of there and the F-35's rolling above them, launching multiple AMRAAMs, splashing both of the Su-30's, and it's game over. And now Maduro is down a couple Su-30s. So now the fleet is probably at about 8. That's how one of these engagements could go down. So there you have it, the MQ-4C Triton. It's a game changer in the fight against the cartels. From its insane endurance to its all-seeing sensors, this drone is rewriting the playbook for maritime interdiction. And then you pair it with F-18s and Navy firepower, and the cartels are running out of places to hide. That's kind of the big thing that I'm gathering from those sorties yesterday. The cartels now have nowhere to hide. The MQ-4C can see everything. And the Gulf of Venezuela is just the start. I would expect that MQ-4C to start doing more swaths of Venezuela itself to really hone in and track down the targets that could go down on minute 1 if this conflict were to happen. What do you guys think? Do you think we'll see more missions of the MQ-4C Triton drone, or what do you think of the drone itself? I think it's highly capable. Would love to see what your thoughts are. Let me know in the comments below. And then, hey, follow me on Instagram, follow me on X. Would love to say hi to you guys over there. And then if you would, just watch this video right here. I'll see you on this video right here. This is Ryan, also known as Max Afterburner, signing off.